Bridget is still depressed over the breakup, and not even some surprising news from her parents is enough to make her feel better.
Daddy and I are getting married.
But you're already married.
We're doing it again, reaffirming our vows. Absolutely everything is going to be lavender. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
This scene goes nowhere, by the way. But things get even worse for Bridget after she's offered a position as the female counterpart to Daniel on their show's culture segment, and she is appalled at the idea of working alongside him.
No, I won't do it. Not now, not in a million years from now.
Excuse me?
I am a top television journalist, not some boorish bint in a bikini.
Well, those are strong words coming from someone who doesn't know where Germany is.
Remember how in the first film we were all laughing with Bridget during her embarrassing moments because we in the audience related to her social awkwardness? Well, here, the sequel decides to switch things up a notch by having us laugh instead at Bridget. How else would you explain the over-reliance on physical comedy and mean-spirited jibes at her shortcomings?
Daniel Cleaver is a deceitful, sexist, disgusting specimen of humanity that I wouldn't share a lift with, let alone a job.
Oh, come on, Jones. There must have been something you liked about me.
Well, you were very funny in that Doctor Who sketch for comic relief, but I still won't forgive you for Did You Hear About the Morgans?
And by the way, I know exactly where Germany is. The question is, do you know the location of your asshole?
Best comeback. Best comeback. Totally not humiliating at all. Bridget reluctantly agrees to travel with Daniel to Thailand for the show, but brings best friend Shazza along with her just in case any funny business happens between them.
Why don't you tell me, in detail, the story of your school netball tour, with particular reference to the unsavoury incident in the communal showers?
I didn't play netball or go to a girls' school.
Now, that's just not true, is it, James? Let me start you off.
Oh look, he's making up pervy fantasies about Bridget as a schoolgirl. Just like in Bridget Jones's diary. A clever throwback or a bad case of money for old rope. You make the call. Bridget arrives at Bangkok and things manage to go surprisingly well between her and Daniel. Maybe a little too well.
Now that is Koh Pan Yi, which is the setting for a very famous Thai poem, which I think you'd like very much, Jones. Oh, Suvarnamali, why can you not see that I adore you? Why do you avoid and scorn me? If you cast me off and leave me, how shall I live another day?
It's an act. It is so obvious that Daniel hasn't really changed one bit, and I simply can't get emotionally invested when Bridget considers giving him a second chance, because we all know he's going to still turn out to be a sleazy bastard, and Bridget's going to get back together with Mark in the end. And once again, I have to ask, why does this sequel exist? Meanwhile, Shazza is in the middle of a holiday romance with a guy named Jet that she met on the plane, and Bridget has a very interesting lunch with them.
I would have thought omelette would be a big thing in Thailand. Or mushrooms, for that matter.
It's magic.
It is a magic mushroom omelette, isn't it?
Bridget just ate magic mushrooms. That sure was a funny, quick little moment that just happened. I really hope it doesn't continue into some dumb scene of Bridget being high and shenanigans ensue. Oh crap!
Such lovely colours. Beautiful Bridget.
Okay, I can't really complain about this scene being too silly for a Bridget Jones movie because it was in the original book. But still!
But come on, Jones. Who gave who the hoof? And why?
Let's just say that we suffered from a fatal incompatibility.
He's still a creep.
I don't suppose there's any circumstances in which you would ever consider thinking about trusting me again.
Absolutely not.
Really, Bridget? That's good to hear. I'm very proud of you for staying so determined to not get romantically involved with Daniel in even the slightest way. You agreed to go back with him to his hotel room later that night. Stupid. After looking out on the balcony for some stargazing and chill, Bridget and Daniel kiss and very nearly have sex with each other, but Bridget gets cold feet about the whole hooking up with your ex thing almost immediately.
I mean, you see, if I stay with you tonight, well, that's definitely the end of something important with someone, which has probably ended already, but,
Bridge.
Bridge.
Doesn't everyone deserve a second chance?
I don't know about everyone deserving a second chance, but I do know that not every film deserves a second part, if this sequel's any indication. But all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and it turns out that Daniel already ordered a prostitute for the evening. So much for second chances.
You're looking for a weekend of sex, and I'm looking for
More, just like you. I feel I can change. I absolutely can change, Bridge.
I need to change. I can't believe I fell for it again.
Neither can I.
Daniel, I really do think that you should go and fuck yourself. Or her, but definitely not me.
That was okay, but you just can't beat the originals.
If staying here means working within 10 yards of you, frankly, I'd rather have a job wiping Saddam Hussein's ass.
While packing for their plane ride back home, Bridget offers to put Shaz's gift from Jet in her own bag when there's no room in her suitcase. But when they arrive at the airport, a sniffer dog takes a very keen interest towards Bridget's luggage.
Oh. Bridget? No, don't worry. It's just a misunderstanding.
Because nothing says feel-good chick flick like getting arrested in a foreign country. Daniel also happens to be there at the airport too, but when he sees the police taking Bridget away, he just smiles and walks off. Because he's just that evil.
It's not mine.
These yours?
Yes. I mean, they're not my favourite pair or anything.
She has a pair of giant knickers. Just like in Bridget Jones's Diary. How long is this movie going to keep copying all the memorable gags from the first one? Because if this were a drinking game, I legally wouldn't be allowed to finish this review. Bridget gets thrown into a woman's prison, where it looks as though being whimsically awkward won't be enough to get her out of this sticky situation.
Hello. Bridget Jones. Lovely to meet all of you.
And then she got shanked. Fortunately, it seems that Bridget has been miraculously placed inside the world's friendliest prison cell, and all of the Thai girls there take a shine to her mysterious Western ways. It's just like a big old slumber party. Everyone's wearing pyjamas, you have to sleep on the floor, you have to piss inside the shower, the usual girly things. A few days later, Bridget gets a surprise visitor in the name of Mark Darcy, although their reunion isn't exactly a happy one.
Can't believe you've come all this way.
I haven't. I was out here handling a Foreign Office case when I heard about your situation. Listen, we don't have much time, and I need you to identify someone for me. Was this the man with whom you were seen taking hallucinogenic mushrooms before you spent the night in Daniel Cleaver's hotel room?
Oh.
Yes, that's him. That's Jed. But it was Shaz's snake, not mine. And as far as Daniel Cleaver goes...
Your sex life doesn't concern me. At all.
Oh, their faces.
You're going to be out within a week. And...
Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just a messenger. The order came from above.
Oh, they still love each other. But I don't love this movie. And as if that scene wasn't depressing enough, we get to hear about the hard lives of some of Bridget's fellow prisoners.
My boyfriend treat me bad too.
Don't tell me. My boyfriend, he seemed really nice. Then he start to hit me. Make me work on the street.
My boyfriend, he say he love me. But he do no work. And make me work 24 hours a day. And he made me take heroin drugs. What about you, Bishi? Well, you're bad boyfriend too.
Oh, God. I have been the world's biggest fool.
Oh, give the film this. This is the first romantic comedy I've seen in which the heroine literally gets her character development through white guilt. Eventually, the time arrives for Bridget's release from jail, but just before she heads out, she gives her inmates some leaving presents. Wow, I can't believe Bridget Jones invented feminism for Asian women. White people have such good hearts. Meanwhile in Britain, Daniel's shooting another segment for the show inside an art gallery when Mark suddenly arrives to question him over his involvement, or lack thereof, in Bridget's arrest.
Do you see her surrounded by police? Dogs, handcuffs, that sort of thing?
Oh, come on, she's a big girl. She can take care of herself.
I'm going to ask you one more time.
Yes, I did see her. I don't know, I think she was smuggling seashells or mangoes or something.
Oh, good. Will you step outside, please?
Darcy, do you have any idea what century we actually live in?
Now, you're going to step outside, or am I going to have to drag you?
Oh, you're going to have to drag me.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Mark and Daniel outside, fighting over Bridget in front of a crowd of stunned onlookers. Just like in Bridget Jones's diary, but I don't care because it's still so fun to watch. Darcy! 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 Darcy!
I didn't fucking well seduce her, all right?
You didn't?
I spent the night with a gorgeous Thai girl. In fact, turned out to be a gorgeous Thai boy.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Something just occurred to me. Hugh Grant willingly agreed to be in a film in which he plays a somewhat popular celebrity whose reputation gets destroyed after he cheats on his significant other with a prostitute. Hugh Grant. This is either the most genius move on his part or a really awkward coincidence. Bridget arrives back home and reunites with both her family and friends, yet she's still heartbroken over seemingly losing Mark for good. But it turns out, however, that there was a lot more to his freeing her from prison than she thought.
I called Mark the minute I got off the plane in London. All of us went down to his office, and within half an hour he'd waken up 2 cabinet ministers and half of MI5.
Mark flew over to Interpol.
Which is in Leon. They located Jed in Dubai, but there's a problem. They don't normally extradite people from there. So Mark had to ring up the Home Secretary, who rang up our ambassador.
And then Mark flew to Dubai, where he identified Jed, who was then impounded, pushed out of the country into
Saudi Arabia. Jed was arrested, Bridget, and extradited back to Britain. Then Mark flew to Bangkok to make damn sure they let you go.
So that means...
He was just angry about Daniel Cleaver. He must still love me.
Mark still loves Bridget after all. No! No, 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 no. Technically speaking, this is not a good movie. It's a pointless sequel and it recycles old jokes, and Bridget's agency gets completely reduced, and the Asian stereotypes are dumb, and the story is just so boring and weak. And yet, I love this part of the film so much. I love it when Bridget runs after Mark while Everlasting Love plays in the background, and she goes over to his house but Rebecca answers the door, so Bridget tells her that she hopes they'll be happy together because she's nice like that, but then Rebecca tells her that she doesn't love Mark and that she's always been in love with her, and then she kisses her and wait, what? Rebecca was gay all this time and also a really nice person? That's odd. In the original book, she was a total bitch who really did have an affair with Mark. No prizes for guessing that I prefer the movie version of Rebecca. Sure, she isn't exactly the most revolutionary example of LGBT representation in cinema, but she's still a very interesting character. Rewatching the movie knowing what you know about her later on, one can only imagine how difficult it must be for Rebecca to have to hide her sexuality while working at a very conservative law firm, let alone the fact she has a crush on her boss's girlfriend. Even if her personality doesn't really extend beyond her just being nice and friendly to everyone. And Bridget's initial antagonism towards her doesn't make sense in the context of the movie because Rebecca's relationship with Mark is clearly a platonic one. So Bridget kinda comes across as this paranoid, overprotective girlfriend who has no real reason to hate Rebecca other than that she thinks she's prettier than her or something. But anyway, the rest of the climax is still cute. I love it when Bridget lightly turns her record down, then she runs off into the rain super happy, and then she gets into a taxi to go to where Mark is working. While on the way, she asks the driver what he thinks of her outfit, and even though he admits he doesn't like it, she asks if they can drive back to her place quickly so she can go and get changed. There's this cute little montage where the driver helps her pick a new look, and even the Piccadilly lights are rooting for Bridget. And when she arrives outside the court, the cab driver says she looks gorgeous, but after he drives off, Bridget gets completely soaked by a passing van going for a puddle. But it doesn't matter to Bridget Jones, because she's gonna go inside to win Mark back, because Bridget Jones is awesome! Eventually Bridget does find Mark, but it turns out he's in the middle of a very important meeting.
I'll just sit outside while you finish.
No. Please. Say what you have to say, young lady.
Bridget thanks Mark in front of everyone for releasing her from prison and confesses that she still loves him. He asks if they can step outside for a second, and when they're alone, the two of them finally make up with each other. But that's not the only thing they do.
In fact, there's a question I've been meaning to ask you.
All right. As long as it's not, will you marry me? Oh, God. It is, will you marry me?
Well, I'm not going to say it now. You spoiled the moment.
Is it, will you marry me?
Bridget, the moment's gone.
Wait.
Bridget.
Start again. We've just stepped out into the corridor, and you say, I've got a question to ask you, and I don't say anything. And then you say,
Bridget Jones, will you marry me?
And so the movie ends like any decent love story, with a wedding. Except that it's actually Bridget's parents renewing their vows, but it's still good.
December 31st, year-end summary. Prison stays, 1. Lesbian kisses, 1.
Hey, sounds like a great year to me.
Bridget Jones has cocked things up for the very last time.
Hold that sound, Bridget! Still as clumsy and awkward as ever. Shame that there's nothing else to her this time round.
Your love is king. Crown you in my heart. Your love is king.
So as you can see, I've found my happy ending at last. And I truly believe that happiness is possible.
And they all lived happily ever after. For about 12 years anyway. That was Bridget Jones' The Edge of Reason, and that was a totally pointless sequel which doesn't quite live up to the magic of its predecessor, while adding nothing new to the story of Bridget Jones as a whole. And yet, I liked it. Obviously this film is a lot weaker than the last one in so many ways. The story is pointless, the characterisation has gone off the rails, and the comedy falls flat with or without the recycled jokes from the first movie. I'm sure most people would agree that this is probably the weakest instalment in the Bridget Jones trilogy. But if you're in the mood for a sweet little chick flick that carries on from an already brilliant film, and you're also willing to overlook some of the more dumber or problematic moments, then I say give it a quick watch, just in case you want to see more of Bridget Jones and Mark Darcy and all your old favourites. If Bridget Jones' Diary was the cinematic equivalent to a mug of hot chocolate with whipped cream and marshmallows, then Bridget Jones' The Edge of Reason is basically just a mug of hot chocolate on its own without anything else. But hey, who doesn't feel cosy after drinking hot chocolate? I don't think this movie is idiotic at all. I realised that when I first reviewed it, I was unforgivably rude and wearing fake cat eye glasses. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say very inarticulately is that, in fact, perhaps despite appearances, I like it very much just as it is. This is Poindexta, and this is the end of the review.